Thank you.
We have gathered from our various directions and places and to be here together. So thank you for coming. I am the Reverend Dr. Stephanie May, minister here at First Parish in Wayland and part of the Wayland Interfaith Leaders Association. Welcome to this evening's vigil and call to shine a light on domestic violence awareness. Thank you for gathering with your neighbors, members of your houses of worship, and others from Sudbury, Wayland, and Lincoln. While we all dream of a day where we do not need to gather to shine a light on the issue of domestic violence, it is important that we do come together now to remember those who have died, to recognize those who have survived, and to rally all of us to action. By gathering together tonight, the co-sponsors of tonight's event, the Sudbury Wayland Lincoln Roundtable, the Lauren Dunn Astley Memorial Fund, and the Wayland Interfaith Leaders Association, hope that our connections to each other in this critical work will grow stronger. Please join me now, if you have not already, in turning on your candle, and we do have some more candles on a table to the side if you'd like one. It's just sort of a twist thing until it connects. And if you are joining us online, if you have a candle available at home, I invite you to light that in solidarity with all of us gathered here. Thank you again for coming here tonight. I now invite Dan Lewis and Allison Maduki, sorry, my apologies, I know I probably mispronounced that, to come forward to lead us in the remembrance of names. Good evening. My name is Allison Maduki, and I have the privilege with my new friend, Dan Lewis, to greet you this evening and offer a few remarks as we begin this important and powerful program. In this community, I am so proud to have served at Wayland High School for over 20 years as an educator and school leader. But I also come tonight as a daughter, sister, spouse, and the parent of a son and daughter. We stand here now as individuals with many different backgrounds, experiences, faiths, familial and professional roles. Yet we are knit together in solidarity and with a common purpose to remember victims of domestic violence, recognize the strength of survivors, and offer hope, resolve, and resources to one another. When a community convenes in this way, it becomes stronger. Thank you so much for being here to take part in this vigil. In a few moments, some of this evening's participants will read the names of those who were killed by their domestic partner here in Massachusetts during the year 2020. In this act of remembrance, as we hear their names read, we honor each life, however short and incomplete it was on earth. When we hear their names, we remember that each victim knew joy and love, and had a life of purpose, and had so much more to contribute after they were taken from us. We remember the sorrow and rage and pain of family and friends left behind. We remember the injustice of domestic violence and the fear and inhumanity that some experience in a relationship that should be trusting and loving. And through remembrance, we bring to the forefronts of our hearts and minds the work that we can do, the work that we must do to educate, advocate, and shine a light on domestic violence.
Thank you, Allison. And thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Dan Lewis, and I'm here representing the Lauren Dunn Astley Memorial Fund. Lauren's parents, Mary Dunn and Malcolm Astley, established the fund in honor of their wonderful daughter, to support the creative arts that she loved, to promote educational programs aimed at preventing tragedies like hers, and to remember her as the scintillating human being and joyful young woman that she was. This year marks 10 years since Lauren's death at the hands of her former boyfriend. We celebrate the bright light that she brought to our community and to our world, and we remember her name. We gather here tonight to remember others as well. The names that will be read tonight of the bright, sparkling human beings who became victims of domestic violence this year is far too long. We must remember, though, that the tragedy of domestic violence runs deeper and broader than any list, like we will read tonight, can show. We may not be able to see it, but as the National Network to End Domestic Violence reminds us in this year's October slogan, everyone knows someone. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men will experience domestic violence in their lifetimes. Anyone, regardless of gender, race, sexual identity or orientation, or socioeconomic status can become a victim of domestic violence. The names we read tonight, each one holds a story of unspeakable loss, and tragically, they are representative of many, many more whose stories are all around us and who live in circumstances of domestic violence right now. Like Allison, I'm speaking tonight as an educator as well. I'm a teacher at Lincoln Sudbury Regional High School, just up the street. And we who work in schools have an up-close view, have had one, of the ways that our recent enforced distance from one another has taken a toll on young people. But the truth is that we have all felt the same costs. We all understand the price of disconnection of these past many months on our relationships and ourselves. Our awareness of the price of isolation, though, also reminds us of what we can do to work toward one fine year when there are no names to be read. We can reach out, we can listen, we can ask, and we can offer, and we can connect. That's part of what we're doing here tonight. For it's only in isolation that we can, any of us, forget what we all need to know in our bones. Every one of us deserves safety, security, and love that lifts us up rather than breaks us down.
I want to invite those who will be reading a name to begin gathering here to my right. Our readers today represent the wide range of community leaders and resources who are committed to shining the light on domestic violence. They include the Representative Carmine Gentile, the Interim Chief of Wayland Police Sean Gibbons, the Assistant Fire Chief of Wayland Rich Ripley, the Chief of Lincoln Police Kevin Kennedy, and Chief Scott Nix of the Sudbury Police. Also Reverend Rebecca Chow, Community Methodist, Jason Verhowski, Wayland Youth and Family Services, and Carol Martin, Wayland Board of Selectmen. As a reminder, after each name, a chime will be rung. And following the names, we'll have a moment of stillness, followed by a prayer by Rabbi Lisa Edison. Thank you for participating in this reading and this work together.
Tina Amore, age 49, December 20th, 2020. Kristen A. Carey, age 37, January 2nd, 2021.
August 29, 2021, Diane Silviera, age 71.
Celeste Marte LeBron, age 49, April 20th, 2021.
Jahiri Dialto and Fatima Yassin, ages 42 and 27, May 2nd, 2021.
Sada Abano Redandi, age 67, March 6th, 2021.
Rhonda Padalina, age 35, March 26, 2021.
Jamie A. Dickinson, age 34, June 22nd, 2021. Alicia N. Haywood, age 42, July 29th, 2021.
Michael Ricci, January 28th, 2021, age 51. Danielle Taylor, February 8th, 2021, age 30.
Gracious God, you created us in your image and breathed life into us, a life you want us to live abundantly. We ask you to free those living with abuse, physically, mentally, or spiritually, from their oppression, so that they may walk in peace and enjoy a life full of your blessings. Help us, O God, to be strong inheritors of all you have entrusted to us. Give us the courage and your strength to stand against violence inflicted upon all of your precious children. We pray for the survivors of abuse. We ask you to surround them with your care and protect them by your loving might. Permit them to enjoy health and healing, wholeness and strength, calmness, peace, and love. Most of all, we pray that they feel your presence and feel confident in you. We also remember in love those whose lives on this earth have ended, those who suffered untold pain at the hands of abusers, those whose journeys were violently cut short, and whose voices, glances, caresses we will hold in our memories forever. As we extinguish our candles, we know that the light of our loved ones shine brightly still. Let the smoke be our prayers rising. Amen.
Just want to thank John McGaugh for providing some music this evening.
It's a song I wrote to remember people we're thinking about tonight. And always. Hey, Mary Ann, I carry you with me. You left way too soon, you left a mark on me. You treated your neighbor like your brother, like your sister, your father, your mother. And when I'm kind to others, I carry you with me. Your little boy must be in college now. He made it through the darkness somehow. And when he goes to bed at night, he whispers a soft good night. Good night, Mary Ann. Good night, Mother. Good night, Mommy, I carry you with me. Hey, Grandpa King, I carry you with me. I never heard you sing, but you taught me your song. And long before you'd ever kiss and hug, under your roughness I could feel your love. And though you lived a good long life, I carry you with me. When I go to bed at night, I still whisper a soft good night. Good night, Mary Ann. I carry you with me. Hey, Harvey Milk, I carry you with me. You knew your day was coming, still you marched on. You never thought to turn and run. Your cause was a righteous one. And when I feel the warm breeze of justice, I carry you with me. Yeah, in the fields of Gaia's land, I feel a warm and healing hand. It's in those moments of peace. I forget the details of your face sometimes. I'll forget the words of our song, occasionally the rhyme. I'd never forget the tune. It's what binds me to you. It's the music of my soul. I carry it with me. All right. Hey, Mom, I carry you with me. You taught me how to work and how to love. You had to say goodbye when I was 21 for a date with the setting sun. Now I get two girls of my own. Oh, I'd give the world for you to have known. When I hold my daughters tight, I carry you with me. When I go to bed at night, I still whisper a soft good night. Good night, Mary Ann. Good night, Lauren. Good night, Mom. I carry you with me. I carry you with me when I walk the beach, or I stretch for things out of reach. To be the best man I can be. Oh, you so inspire me. And like the picture on my ID, I carry you with me.
Thanks, John. I now invite Lauren Knackle to come forward from Reach.
Thank you all for joining us tonight and for shining a light on domestic violence. My name is Lauren Knackel. I'm the Community Engagement Specialist at Reach Beyond Domestic Violence in Waltham. Tonight we have with us two members of our Survivor Speakers Bureau who are here to share parts of their story with you tonight. The Survivor Speakers Bureau at Reach was founded over a decade ago, created because of the voices of survivors who wanted to share their stories as part of their healing process. The speakers are folks who have worked with Reach and have made the decision to share their story to help educate others about the realities of domestic violence. It takes incredible courage to speak about your experience, and it also takes incredible courage to listen. As we hear these stories today, I encourage you to please take care of yourself. There are a number of us who are service providers who are here who can lend a listening ear, connect you with resources, and we're going to learn about some of those resources in just a few minutes. I will ask that while the survivors are speaking, that we not take cell phones out, take photographs. We'll be pausing the video recording and shutting off the video aspect during this part of the vigil tonight. We will reactivate the recording and the video afterwards as well. Thank you for being here, for shining a light on domestic violence. I am going to invite our first speaker to come forward.
Thank you. I'm just going to encourage you all to take a deep breath. I feel like any words that I have are so inadequate in terms of saying thank you. That was beautiful, powerful, and strong, and clear, and so important. And thank you so much for that gift of your stories. And thank you also, Rabbi, thank you, John, for bringing such a beautiful prayer and music into the spaces as well. So I'm finding myself thinking about stories right now, both the stories that we weren't able to hear, those people whose names we read earlier, and also these incredible stories that we heard tonight. And I'm looking at all of you, looking at you on Zoom also, and I'm just wondering and thinking about how many more stories we as a community can affect. How many more lives can we touch doing this work together? And I think that that's the question and the challenge of this evening, is what are we going to do, having heard these stories? How are we going to do this and do this together? So I will tell you this. I've gotten pretty used to Zoom and PowerPoint, which people who knew me before the pandemic think is very funny. So I'm a little at a loss without my slides right now, but if I had my slides here, I would have one big slide with 2 bullet points. The first bullet point is call us. There are 5 domestic abuse service programs that are connected with the roundtable. So there's Reach Beyond Domestic Violence, who we've heard a little bit about. There's the Domestic Violence Services Network, DVSN. Second Step, Voices Against Violence, and the program that I'm part of, Journey to Safety, which is the domestic abuse program at Jewish Family and Children's Service. And what we want you to know, and I'm speaking on behalf of all 5 of our programs right now in a collective voice, we say, please call us. Don't worry about figuring out which is the right program or which is the one that you should call or who's got the right whatever. Call us. We work together. We know each other. We want to talk to you. And so we're just really hoping that you won't worry so much about who and when and that becomes a barrier. Call any of the numbers of any of our programs, and we'll help connect you with the programs and services that you're looking for. And please know that we are speaking to you if you are thinking about your own situation right now and thinking about maybe reaching out. And we're also speaking to you if you are thinking about somebody that you know or that you care about. We are here for you no matter what, whether you are thinking about yourself or supporting somebody. And that's important because we don't want anybody to ever feel like they shouldn't call one of our programs because they're taking time away from people who need us more. We are here for you. We are here for this community. We are here for anybody who's thinking about this situation. And it's really important to us that you all hear and know. So please do call us. The second bullet point would be join us. When I think about all of us together and all of the people that we know in our circles, in our professional circles, in our volunteer circles, in our social circles, how we amplify our voices is so important. And I'll tell you, when I say join us, we think of this in two ways. One is help us amplify these messages, help us put these helpline numbers in front of as many people as we can. And Ruth Backman at the end of the program is going to tell you more about how to do that. And I think some of our speakers coming are also going to talk about getting involved. But we need that amplification. We need your voices. We need your extension. We need you to help us talk out to everybody. And we also need you to bring us in. We need you to bring us into communities. Domestic abuse is very widely not well understood. It's often thought of as being about violence and about hitting, but it's really about power and control. And when we bring those conversations into communities and have those conversations about what you're looking for, what abuse actually looks like, when we have these conversations in a deeper, more meaningful way, the conversation changes and we reach more people. So I'm going to ask you tonight to just think about that. Think about who you know and who you can get this information out to in any of those ways. And looking out at you and just thinking about the power of all of you and the people that you know. And I'm looking at you also on Zoom and all of you and who you know. And thinking about when we work together, when we do this work together, because nobody should do this alone. When we do this work together, how bright of a light we can shine. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. And as Julie said, we're now going to hear from several speakers about how you can get involved in active ways to prevent domestic violence and support those who are facing domestic violence. Our first speaker is Dina, I believe, Saru from the Islamic Center of Boston, Wayland.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May the peace and mercy and blessings of God be upon all of you. In the Quran, in the chapter called the chapter of the Romans, God discusses the divine goal of domestic life. And he states that he created for mankind spouses so that you may live in tranquility with them, and he put between you love and compassion. But when things go awry, you end up with situations like domestic violence. And domestic violence, like all wrongs and transgressions, has its root in oppression. The Arabic word dhulm is often translated as oppression. However, it is a root word whose literal meaning is to place a thing or an object in its wrong place. That means that anything that goes against the order of creation or the order of its inner being is oppression. Our prophet, peace be upon him, addressed oppression several times. At one point, advising the people around him, help your brother, whether he is an oppressor or he is an oppressed one. And when the people asked and said, we know about helping the oppressed, but how should we help him if he is the oppressor? To which he replied, you help him by preventing him from oppressing others. I interpret this prophetic saying as not just encouraging intervention in an active situation of oppression, but also encouraging prophylaxis and prevention. This prophylaxis includes teaching our children about healthy relationships and behavior, and teaching them to speak up and stand up for what is right, and abstaining from violence in both word and action. Conversely, the Arabic word for justice, adl, its literal meaning means to put things in order. God addresses the issue of justice in the Quran several times as well. in one example in the chapter called The Chapter of the Women. He addresses all of us, and he says, "O you who believe, be firm in justice, witnesses for God, even though it be against yourselves or your parents and kindred." Unfortunately, and I say this as someone who has boys, the instigators of domestic violence are disproportionately male. Many of us teach our daughters to be good wives and mothers. But I would dare to ask you, how many of us, how many of you teach our sons to be good husbands and fathers and partners? Following the news over the last few years, I've noticed a pattern among abusers and survivors whose story makes it to the news. The abusers share the common trait of being concerned with their own needs and feelings, and only their own needs and feelings. Even when confronted with their crimes, their first concern becomes how the fallout is affecting them. Their concern for their victims is non-existent. It is no wonder then that all of our faith traditions constantly emphasize the values of empathy, sympathy, mercy, caring and concern for others, and helping others. I'd like to mention the organization MCSS, Muslim Community Support Services, an organization whose mission is to assist individuals in the New England area who are in desperate need of financial help, which is a common concern for people and survivors who do finally find the courage to leave an abusive situation. When the Prophet made his migration from the city of Mecca to the city of Medina, his first words when he addressed the people of Medina was, "O people, feed the hungry and spread peace." Almost every chapter in the Quran begins with the phrase that I opened with tonight. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. I pray for God to descend his peace and mercy on our communities and to protect us all from the pain and harm of domestic violence and to give us the courage to help others. I'd like to thank you all for listening to me and to leave you with the same words I greeted you with. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May the peace and mercy and blessings of God be upon all of you.
Thank you, Dina. And now we'll hear from Morgan from the Lincoln Sudbury Regional High School.
Hi everyone, my name is Morgan Blakely and I'm a senior at LS. I've been a member of the MVP Club for 2 years and I'm also the co-founder of the Allies of Immigrants and Refugees Club. I'm here today to talk to all of you about the importance of mentors and violence prevention in schools, share a story in which I used what I learned in MVP to help a friend, and discuss the plans for MVP this year. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to spread awareness on the warning signs of abusive relationships. The more people that know the signs can recognize them in their friends. Let me tell you what happened. A group of my friends and I were having dinner at a friend's house. I was really excited to go, and my friend and her boyfriend were there. I had never really interacted with him, and this dinner was the first time my friends and I were meeting him. He seemed like a good guy, but throughout the dinner, I noticed small behaviors that stood out to me. For example, every time my friend would say something he did not like, he would roll his eyes and make a small comment that would belittle her, and she seemed to laugh it off. She said the Patriots were playing the wrong team, and he crossed the line from poking fun to being mean. It just felt off. These actions stood out to me because, as MVP taught me, belittling and criticism are some warning signs of an abusive relationship. I did not know much about the boyfriend and if this was usual behavior for him, but I still spoke to my other friends who were present and they noticed the same behavior. I sat down with the friend and had an open conversation with her. I first brought up some positive things about the boyfriend and then I pointed out what I noticed. We talked about it some more and she had not even noticed that he was doing these things, and she ended up speaking to him about how those actions made her feel. I am sharing this experience because her story is so common to many people, particularly in high school. Fortunately, I know of friends in situations that are more serious and require more than a conversation with the people involved. Friends need to look out for each other, and sometimes the person involved cannot see what's going on. MVP is able to teach everyone what to be aware of, so we can all look out for each other. This upcoming year, MVP at Lincoln Sudbury is planning to have the 12th grade Courage to Care Assembly, where we show One Love's escalation movie and then break into small group discussions led by MVP student leaders. In that small, student-led space, students talk about warning signs, ways to be an upstander, and ways to take care of each other. We then hear Mr. Astley speak, and then we have an alumni panel, which is very powerful because MVP alumni who are now in college share their real stories of college relationships and are honest about what they see at parties and how they keep each other and themselves safe. The other event we have this year is the 10th grade Love to Death Assembly, where we watch CBS 48 Hours covering Lauren Astley's story and introduce the 10th graders to the pyramid of abuse. The purpose of this event is to focus on the lower levels of the pyramid that can create a foundation where unhealthy relationships are more likely to occur, like name-calling, stereotyping, objectification, and jokes, as well as showing students what tools they have to use in these situations. This past year, the pandemic has clearly affected every one of us. We did not have the opportunities to build up cooperative relationships where we can have these important conversations. Listening to stories of friends or current events involving domestic abuse can be really scary. This year, MVP is focusing on building person-to-person connections where we can have these important conversations and share important tools. We are excited for the year ahead and hope to continue to make a difference with our work.
Thank you, Morgan. It's always great to hear what MVPs are doing. And our final speaker is Ruth Backman from the Roundtable.
Good evening. I'm Ruth Backman. I'm a resident of Wayland, and I've been a member of the Roundtable for a number of years. We've been in existence in town for about 25 years now. Sudbury, Wayland, and Lincoln communities and their residents all gather, or all are welcome, I should say. One of the objectives of the Roundtable when we formed was to try to educate our communities about domestic abuse and what warning signs are. Also, as a previous speaker had mentioned, we also support our area agencies that help people in domestic abuse relationships. They also have shelters, provide counseling, support to families that are going through this situation. And those agencies, again, are Reach Beyond Domestic Violence in Waltham and Newton, and Voices Against Violence in Framingham, Domestic Violence Services Network, which is based in Bedford and Concord, as well as Jewish Family Services and A Journey to Hope, and Second Step, which is in Newton. So I know those are a lot of things to remember, but again, if you visit our website, we do have a website, Domestic Violence Roundtable. You'll find it all there. We are, a big part of what we do is we gather, we offer programming each month. It's on the second Tuesday of every month from September through May. And next week, on Tuesday, the 12th, at 3 p.m. We're going to be offering a virtual meeting. Because of the pandemic, our meetings have gone via Zoom, so it in some ways makes it accessible to everybody. You will have to register to be part of that, so we encourage you to do that online by visiting our website, or if you speak to any of us here, we can help you with that. So what can we do to try to encourage you to kind of carry this on from what you heard tonight, to be inspired to help in the community? The Roundtable offers many ways that you can do that by supporting the service providers during the holiday times, during Shower for Shelters, we call it. We usually do collection drives where we ask for new items that people can go out and make an apartment or a place of their own after leaving shelter, as well as at the holidays for gifts and items for people that are in shelter. We also have information cards that go in bathrooms or restrooms, in public buildings, in restaurants, in our faith communities also. So we have those, and we are always, that's something that you can do, that you can just go and make contact and leave them, and that way in hopes that people that may need help or have a friend that needs help, that they can get that information in our cards. Also, for men in particular, we have a white ribbon committee, and every year we do a program for White Ribbon Day where men are encouraged to step up to men's violence against women. So I'm hoping that this inspires you and that you'll think about joining our meeting, which will again be on next Tuesday, 1 week from now. And you can do that by registering online. So thank you all for being here.
Thanks, Sue. And if you've forgotten the website already, in each town in the next couple of weeks, you will see a big Shine the Light banner, which has the domestic violence website on it. So there's one at the intersection behind us right now. Take a look as you're driving around the different towns. Thank you again to all who have participated, to all who have showed up in person and online. Much has been said, much to carry with us as we go forward. And I want to just echo that St. Paul. I love what Julie said, and she shared this when we were planning. And I said, I always get so confused. Who do I call? She's just like, call anybody on the list. And that was so refreshing to me, because there is so many organizations and I don't always understand all the nuances. So I love the invitation. Just call the Roundtable, and there is a resource there. And for many of us in faith communities, I know that sometimes we are the first to hear, and I know that officers also are often the first to hear of a situation of violence. It's so nice to be in partnership with the Roundtable and those who are able to provide resources. So thank you for the network of care and commitment that is represented here tonight. After my benediction, we'll have a final song from John. But to close, let us hear these words of benediction. Go now in peace, connected in purpose with those gathered here and all those seeking a safer, more loving relationships. Go now in hope, resting in the knowledge that light transforms darkness as we all strive for safer, more loving communities. And go now in love, reassured that no one is alone in this work and in this dream of a safer, more loving world. Amen.
Shine the Light Vigil. Thank you for everyone for sharing your voices and stories and coming together. interdenominational and different sectors and schools and people, all the great work being done. If you know this one, please join in. You're most welcome. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. This little heart of mine. This little heart of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little heart of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Put it in a bushel. No, no, no. Gonna let it shine. So no, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Put it on top of a mountain. No, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, put it on top of a mountain. Yeah, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Last one. With this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.